Welcome back to Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. Got a video today from Advocate. Womansplaining men to women. Compilation. Please like to rub them below. I really appreciate that. See that, Chow. Chow Time.
Where did all the good men go?
Oh, they're at work. Or in their car commuting to work. They might be on their lunch from work. Or they're sleeping from doing so much work. Finally, they could be trapped in the nothing box and staring off blankly into the distance as a subconscious distraction from the perilous dread of work. The average man will spend at least 1/3 of his life at work. See, we as a society, majoritively, about 3/4 of us in fact, are still telling men that in order to be valued, they should be able to provide for an entire family on their own, despite the fact that 7 out of 10 wives now earn as much or more than their husbands. So to answer the question, where are the good men with facts, they're spending most of their time burning themselves down at both ends, desperately trying to please people who don't actually need their money as much as they say they do. So I wonder, I really have this theory. If we were more vocal and expressive in valuing men for their presence, for simply being available for us, for being who they are, like we expect people to do for us, you know, instead of constantly telling them that it was better when they just went to war and sent home a paycheck, then maybe...
Can't you just accept us as we are, ladies? Come on.
We'd actually have a chance at getting to meet those men. But more importantly, if we removed these superficial standards, maybe they'd have a chance to meet themselves. These are 3 more things your man has always wanted to tell you, but for numerous reasons he can't, so I will. As always, I'm far from perfect. I've just been married for 10 years, so I've learned all these the hard way. 1, you are guilty of doing annoying things too. Like, he already knows he's annoying, but he wants to know if you know that you also can be annoying. He definitely notices when you leave all of the cupboard doors open, or you leave dishes out, or you leave the bathroom a mess, but he chooses the peace of not saying anything over potentially starting a fight, and he...
Thank you, Advocate, for mentioning that. Yes, ladies, there's plenty of stupid shit that you leave around and do, and guess what? I'll pick up, put it away, and all this. I don't say shit. Why? Because I'd rather keep the goddamn peace.
kind of wished that you did that a little bit more too. 2, guys aren't the only ones who can be oblivious when they're being hit on, and oh my god, are you ever clueless that so many people hit on you all the time? Your dude is acutely aware of every man in your life who wants to absolutely marry you, and he kind of...
Alright, I admit, when I was married, I was clueless. Women would hit on me all the time, and my friends, and even my ex-wife would tell me, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just fucking trying to eat here. It's so dumb, you know, as men are just, once you're with someone, you kind of ignore some things outside of the outside world sometimes.
Wishes you weren't as nice to them as you are, but he plays it cool. And 3, you fart in your sleep. And not just like little toots either. I'm talking full on the sound of the Ocean Gate submarine exploding underwater level, tearing it up. You sound like a saxophone full of Doritos. You straight up sound like if someone threw a 24-pound roll of bubble wrap through an airplane propeller. And he's impressed. Anyway, guys, don't send this to her. Just hit like, nod, smile, and pray it ends up on her FYP. These are 5 phrases guys cannot stand hearing. 1, he's so well trained. Given that he is a man and not a circus elephant, this can be a bit patronizing. 2, men are so sassy these days.
I give it the Advocate. I don't cover her enough. I should cover her more. But she's quite genuine with all of her things. She's married. She does experience these things. She's not out of the chameleons out there. I think she is probably the least. I wouldn't say she's not in any sense or anything like that, but she is pretty genuine in how she advocates for us men and fathers. And I appreciate that.
Especially because this is usually only said after he has expressed a very basic want or need. It's like if you were to say that you wanted to receive flowers and he were to say, "Oh, I didn't realize you were so materialistic." It's a subtle way of shaming someone so that they don't have to step up to doing something very basic. 3, fine, go ahead and do whatever you want then. He knows, you know, we all know that you don't mean that. You never did. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. 4, I just think it's funny how whatever you're about to say next is not even going to be a little bit funny. 5, since you're not busy, here's what I have planned for you. Ma'am, he sat down not because that is where he goes to await future instructions. He wants so badly to just sit down and stay there. Men need nothing time.
Women do not truly understand this. Like, even women I date, they're like, "Oh, can I hang out today?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna relax and just chill." And they're like, What are you gonna do? I'm gonna sit and relax and chill. I like and be on my phone and not have to worry about entertaining you and not have to worry about anything else because I need to relax. I need to not think about trying to please you or anything. I'd rather just you not be here and me think about nothing. And women go crazy when I tell them that. I'm like, I don't want to have to work even when you're around. So when you're gone, I get to, oh, literally just relax, sit in my chair, maybe smoke a little bit of devil's lettuce and fucking relax. Please let me relax.
As far as what guys do like to hear, literally just any compliment. Anything, please. They beg. These are 5 more things every guy in a long-term relationship has wanted to say to his girl, but for multiple reasons he cannot, so I will. As always, I am not better than anybody. I have made all of these mistakes, so please learn from mine. 1. Get to the point. The suspense is killing him, especially if it's something that makes you uncomfortable. Just rip the band-aid off. Sometimes you just take a little bit too long dancing around things when you should just come out with it, please. 2. Sometimes the amount of time you spend on beauty feels like wasted time. He knows that makeup and self-care is important to you, but he just wishes just once that you would actually believe him when he says that you look good as you are, so you can just get going a little.
It'd be nice.
3. If you're getting serious, it is 100% okay for you to offer to chip in sometimes. Most guys do not mind paying for things at first, but if things are moving along and you're both working and he's never said that he wants to be the exclusive provider, it would really show that you care about making things easier for him if you just offer to chip in a little bit to meals and dates.
Just a little
4.
bit.
Stop doing the baby voice. Like, unless you're making fun of something, it is not to be used unironically. It physically hurts their ears.
Thank you, Dadvocate. Oh my God, how many women use the little baby kid voice? Like, ooh. Stop it. Just stop it. You're not a baby, and it's annoying.
And 5, he craves the group chat's approval. If he ever gets even a slight inkling that they actually like him in there.
This one, I'm not in a group chat. I know my friends are in group chats with each other, but I'm not in a group chat with them. I'm just not a group chat person. I can get this, though.
Or better yet, that they took his side of an argument, he will ride that horse into the sunset like the end of a spaghetti western, dude. That will be his new Roman Empire. And guys, just remember, you already sent it to her, didn't you? Oh, okay. Well, if you sent it to her, you gotta make her girl dinner. Those are the rules. Should have waited till the end of the video. This is a womansplaining men to women episode that is long overdue, so listen up. If there is one thing men hate more than almost anything in relationships, it's when you treat him like he's your ex. About every dude you know has had to atone for the sins of the dude who came before him somehow, and this is what it looks like. Trying to justify possessive and controlling behaviors because she was cheated on in the past. Jumping to the...
It makes me question how many women actually watch Davocat's channel. I'm positive it's 90% men still, but I'm hoping some women come in and absorb some of this information here and there. That would be wonderful, ladies.
The worst possible assumptions about why he's doing things based off of why her ex used to do things. Or constantly testing him to gauge his reaction to make sure that he's not doing the same things her ex did. Men are generally very sympathetic to women who have been mistreated in the past and will often go out of their way to make them feel more comfortable. For example, moving more slowly if they notice that she flinches when he moves too fast. But it does get exhausting having to wear the mantle for some other dude's crimes day in and day out. If you don't have it in you to give your new partner a clean slate, it is perfectly okay to take more time on healing yourself before entering the dating world again. But if you're still projecting your shitty ex onto every guy you date, please leave these poor dudes alone.
Please.
It's not your fault what happened to you, but it is your responsibility to work on it. Not his.
And this is the same for you, men.
My mother told me, she said, you never hit a man where he's weak. Never. It could be true, it could be real, but you don't hit him where he's weak because it'll turn around on you. You can get him to do what you need him to do, but you never hit a man where he's weak because they never forget it. It lives with them. And so I know what his weaknesses are. He don't know I know they're there.
This right here is so true. This is what men are talking about when they say that they're afraid to open up about their biggest problems because it often gets weaponized against them. Because we aren't talking about general criticisms like, hey, you don't move the couches when you sweep, or you haven't been wiping down the counters after yourself. We're talking about when you know your man's deepest insecurity. He's opened up to you about the thing that he has struggled the most with, and you bring it up in a discussion or an argument to either hurt him or motivate him to do what you want him to do. For example, I have heard men open up to their girl that they are so hurt that their father abandoned the family, so she uses it against him like, you are being just like your father right now. Or when
Oh my jeez. I can see men fucking going into a fucking rage hearing shit like that. Wait, did you just call me my deadbeat father? You fucking whore.
man opens up about how he's been broken up with numerous times, so she brings up, and that's why girls always leave you later on in an argument. She is completely right that he is never going to forget that you did that, and he's sure not going to be the same man to you afterward. All of a sudden it's going to be, why isn't he opening up to me anymore? Why doesn't he seem to trust me anymore? Where did the love go? And this is where men aren't the only ones who are blindsided when a relationship ends. When a man has his weaknesses exploited by a woman he trusts, he generally falls back in silence and doesn't say a word. So if you've ever been guilty of doing this to a man in your past, you might have been able to say that you didn't know what was going on before, but now that you've made it to the end of this video, don't make that mistake again. Me calling my ex-husband while we were separated because I was having a panic attack and he was my safe person. Him coming to pick me up even though I was the one divorcing him. I completely understand this. I did it several times. I struggle with the sadness of the decision, but it was needed. So your ex-husband is needed, but he's your ex-husband. Mine didn't come. I go through them alone now, and it hurts every time. There is a disconnect happening where women are leaving their men, yet expecting them to stay and keep performing their husbandly duties. Do you think if he called her having a panic attack that she'd even pick up the phone? Being expected to constantly provide and care for people who have given up on them is not good for men's souls and their growth. It is beating them down mentally. Men already feel overlooked for their personalities and love to give, and feel more used for what they can provide, and crap like this is exactly why. Even if it's not your intention, it is so incredibly manipulative to break up with a guy and then expect him to console you through the breakup. Stop using your exes as free therapists. Move on and let them move on in peace.
On my side here, don't do it, man. If your ex-wife is asking you for all this shit, she left you for a reason. She doesn't love you anymore. Stop giving her attention. Stop giving her fucking help, and just give her what she deserves and wants, to be alone.
Okay, I
True.
know this was supposed to be a joke video. Like, I'm well aware of the fact that this was a sketch. Still doesn't change the reality of how annoying this actually is, though. It doesn't, like, only exist in fiction that women have a greater appeal to emotion than men do. What that translates to is that, yes, oftentimes, especially in relationships, women get away with not apologizing a lot more than men do. There's a reason this joke was relatable. This is why women who take accountability are beautiful diamonds in the rough for men. Men have reached a point where they might entertain women like this, but they are not giving them rings. Less and less people in general are interested in getting married, and I have to imagine that's in large part from watching our parents act like this. And deadass, when you ask men the qualities that they're looking for in a wife, being able to take accountability is consistently one of the top 3 next to kindness and loyalty. They care about these 3 things even more than conventional attractiveness. Apologizing isn't just for the boys. This is not a gendered issue. Being able to take accountability and say sorry is a necessary function of society to be respectable.
I am 37 years old. I could probably count on my hands how many times I've heard a woman say sorry. And only one hand is required to count that shit.
And I'm just gonna say it, stop wasting your time on women who can't say sorry, and definitely stop getting them pregnant.
Yes,
because no kid
stop
wants a
that,
mom
man.
who can't say sorry. Trust me. These are 8 more things we women say to guys thinking they're compliments, and they're not. 1, referring to him as a short king. Like, I guess you gave him a little noble title, but at what cost? You wouldn't call a dude like Pocket Prince or Little Lord or Bite-Sized Baron or Minuscule Mayor. 2, I'm not usually into guys who have insert whatever quality here that he's suddenly about to feel very insecure about. Like,
I get you're not usually the type I date. Like, thanks. That made me feel better.
I get why you think it's a compliment. You're trying to say that there are so many awesome qualities that make you overlook the one that you usually hate, but surely there's a way you can compliment him that won't make him feel worse than when you started the compliment. 3, if you put the words actually or surprisingly in the compliment, it's not a compliment. Saying, wow, you actually look good today, or you're surprisingly good at that, is not actually nice. 4,
It's like saying, oh, I thought you were ugly this whole time. And what? You're not as dumb as I thought?
when you see another guy doing something stupid, immediately saying, at least you're not that incompetent. No, seriously, imagine if a guy was to be like, at least you're not that ugly. Which brings me to 5. Men are disgusting. Not you, though. Nah, because that makes him think you either don't see him as a man, or there is a time limit before you start to see him as you see men. 6, being referred to as her boy toy. Most guys don't really want to feel like your flavor of the week, and they really don't like when you rub in if they are. 7, I don't actually like guys that are super muscular. You don't have to remind him he could be bigger. And finally, number 8, when he does something nice for you and you say, you're so well trained. Guys hate that because it makes it sound like his love and dedication to you has just been an obligation all along. Seriously, guys do not get many compliments, so if you're gonna give him one, don't make it one of these. We talk a lot about how guys don't pick up on hints, and that's absolutely true, but I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. A lot of them—
These are nice to listen to because it's a reflection of some of us men too, that we can kind of get and understand some of this advice that's being portrayed to women.
Absolutely do. You'll just never know because it has the same—
Because now we know these are the type of women you should be avoiding. These are the type of personalities, traits that we should be avoiding. She is giving you men, us men, a guideline of boundaries that probably a lot of us don't have. Probably a lot of us not even created yet. But she's giving us a little blueprint of what we should be adding into our boundaries, adding into our own self-worth.
Results anyway. Because even if a guy does pick up on your subtle hint, even if he has not only picked up on it, but has analyzed it from 1,000 different angles,
that's what we do,
seen 3,000 different doghouses from this hint, he's still not going to do anything about it. Even if he gets it, he is going to pretend that he has no idea what you're hinting at. Why? Because he is not going to reward this behavior. Because he might get it this time, but if he lets you know that, he is screwing over his future self that is not getting the future hints because you're going to come to expect it. He can't let you think hints work because he relies on proper communication skills to keep the whole relationship afloat.
That would be wonderful.
If you can't put in the effort to turn your hint into respectable verbal communication, he's not going to put in 3 times that effort trying to unscramble your unnecessary puzzle. So you have 2 options. Either keep dropping hints and enter a psychological stalemate, or use your words and build a healthy relationship. Choice is yours. Why are there so many dating coaches telling women that if they want a guy to stick around, they have to be a bitch? Women are on this app by the hundreds of thousands saying things like, my man didn't start treating me right until I started treating him wrong. I swear things didn't start getting better until I stopped giving a— I listened to all this aggressive language, and at first I was like, what the f is wrong with you? But then I listened to what they were saying, and I realized what was actually happening. At the end of the day, they're right and they're wrong. Let me explain. The reason that all of these women think that they're finding so much success in being a bitch is because they're confusing being a bitch with simply being assertive and clearly communicating. Look, it's been a tough transition for us women. Our whole lives, we've been socialized to understand that feminism means being submissive, polite, agreeable, quiet. So much so that the most basic forms of sticking up for ourselves feel to us like we're being bitchy. And the truth is that men really do want a lot of the qualities that come with what we associate as being a bitch. That is, communicating very clearly and directly, stating their boundaries concisely, plainly establishing their wants. What they don't care for is the attitude part.
Yes.
What these women are actually finding success in is simply using their voice. But in an effort to become more assertive, some of us are getting a little carried away, and men can only take being blatantly mistreated for so long. It can be a really powerful thing when we realize that our voice can be used to stand up for ourselves and what we believe in. However, we can't take it so far that we start using our voice to test how far our man's boundaries will go. Women who are firm but fair, men like that. Women who are bitches for the sake of being bitches, stay single.
Shout out to Davocate. That was some wonderful chow. It's nice to have women on our side. You know, people always say, why do I feature women on my channel? We should be featuring more men. I do feature a lot of men. I don't feature that many women overall compared to men. But it's necessary to have women's voices in our space too. It makes sense that they can reach an audience that we can't, because they can reach a group of men that I can't. Why? Because there's simpy men that would go to her channel because she's a woman, but she's still speaking the same things that we're speaking from her own experience, from her own husband's experience. So it's not as bad as some chameleons out there pretending to be red pill or whatever it is. No, she's quite in the camp of advocating for men. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.